Welcome back to the Non-Essential Podcast. I think that's what it was called, right?
Yeah, if I gave a shit, I'd do a really elaborate intro of us going into a long abandoned studio and stuff with all these sounds and shit. But yeah, no, I think I think it's been so long and we didn't come back when we said we would. I think we're alone now. So you can kind of feel you can kind of feel it in the air tonight.
So that's what the new. I don't think we talked on air. I think it was off air. We're like, yeah, we're gonna take some. Well, I know you did mention on air that we would be taking some time off, but
I gave a firm date that we'd be back last week.
Yeah,
and we had to put it off for another week.
An old switcheroo.
Yeah. And we're still going to be doing that schedule we talked about every other week.
God, that's going to be so confusing for me, though, because I'll be like, wait.
It won't be for me.
What the fuck week are we on?
I am confident I can rise to that challenge.
Yeah, you'll just be getting a lot of Discord messages from me, like, is it this week or next?
Yeah, and I wish I could say, after all that time off, you feel recharged? Yeah, not really.
Well, what I was getting
I feel better than I did.
Yeah. Yeah, in fairness, though, both of us were at a point, and for me, it's not like, hey, work's fixed and now every day I can't wait to go in. But it's not, knock on fucking wood, that it's not like you want to jump off a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
At the top of each hour, every day. So that's settled down a bit. Or I've just got numb to it. One of the two. Either way, it's about the same thing.
Yeah. You stop daydreaming about elaborate plans to change not just your own clock, but everybody's clock so that it says 5 p.m.
Right. But anyway, we had kind of talked a little bit, and I was thinking what are some ways we could switch up the format, maybe do something new? No, none of that. That requires work, and that was the whole point of that time off, is to not.
I was fixing to let you cook with that, but the whole time you were talking about it, I was like, the point of my idea was that we would do less work.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and it's funny that you use that metaphor, let me cook, because that's another state I've been in where I love cooking and I like doing fancy food, and I've been in the mood for that, except for then you get off work, you're like, I think I'm going to order pizza.
Oh,
or
yeah.
I'll stop at the store and we'll make food, but it's going to be fucking microwaved hot dogs.
Yeah, I've totally been there. The last couple of days at work have been pretty busy. So I haven't been taking lunches. I just haven't really had an opening to. And I just ordered a giant sandwich from Jimmy John's yesterday. And I hate Jimmy John's as a company. They're fucking evil.
Yeah.
But
their subs are okay, though, and they're convenient.
They are the most direct way I can get a sandwich delivered to me in a reasonable time frame. Yeah, I got it super fucking quick. It was here in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is really fast for
that used
anywhere.
To be my go-to if I just didn't have lunch at work and then ours closed. I think it's supposed to be coming back. Basically, the area that it occupied, it was almost a mini strip mall. There was 4 units, but they were 2 by 2, and they were whatever. Everything else that kept moving in would go out of business right away. Jimmy John's was hanging on, and then it kind of just suddenly closed overnight. And then within a month or two, it all got fucking bulldozed to the ground. We're like, well, that was weird. And then they started building right away, and I looked at
what are you building? A Jimmy John's?
No, they're building a Sheets, and I'm fucking excited for that, because it's hey, they're bringing something.
What's a Sheets?
It's it's hard to explain in a way that doesn't make you sound insane to be excited for it, because it's part gas station, part convenience store / restaurant. They serve food, they have food, but it's not just.
Is this Ohio's Wawa?
I would. Maybe. I have no fucking clue what Wawa is.
Wawa is a convenience store in Philly that Philly locals swear by. Well, apparently it's genuinely great food. You can get really good sandwiches there and shit, but it's just like a convenience store.
Yeah, and that's the thing. In fairness, this might open up and I'll be like, oh, this place sucks, because I've never really had it. I just know that there's a large number of people that live in my geographic region. And Sheetz isn't just Ohio, I don't think, but I think it's very,
regional.
Yeah. But people that I know online in the region, that places that have them, are like fucking like cultists about it. That's how. So my hopes are high. It might come in and suck, but at least it's something different.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird how people get like latched onto like food brands. Because like I said, I fucking, on a political level and like a societal level, I think Jimmy John's is the scum of the earth. And I feel guilty every time I eat there. But it's like, I don't really, there's not too many places where I'm like, oh, that restaurant, it's the fucking best. You gotta, it's like, I have places I certainly enjoy, but it's like, it's not like, I can't go to that burger joint after eating this. It's like, fuck that. I'll eat any burger anywhere.
Well, right. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's our story.
So thank God I ate that sandwich before, or the leftovers before doing this show, because I would have been really fucking hungry after that convo. So yeah, if you haven't listened to our show before, don't worry, you're probably brand new with everyone else now. But on this show we tell each other stories. They can be about anything. What a hook, right? No.
Yeah, except for we say that and then it's Creepypasta. We're a Creepypasta show.
Yeah, we're pretty much a Creepypasta show with like, who occasionally refers to the good old days when we did work.
Yeah.
Well, back in my day, I read a Wikipedia once. But yeah, now we just take other people's shit and thank them for giving us fodder.
Fodder, yeah. So that's what I got this week. I've got actually two, because one's like 3 paragraphs long.
Well, you have to pick one, and we kill the other in front of you.
You're going to want to kill this first one.
Oh, good.
There's a theme. They're both.
Do you want to take another month off and try again?
So I'll just jump right in. This first one's called Creepy Crawlies by TheBrexters.
I'm out.
A little boy. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
A little boy is awoken in the middle of the night by seemingly nothing. He rubs his eyes with his hands like a drunkard experiencing a terrible hangover. Nothing appears to be out of order. All the windows are shut, and everything in his room is how he left it. Messy.
Except the giant spider in the fucking corner.
The child attempts to sit up, but is pained with the awful stomach cramps he's endured over the last several days. He decides to instead lie back down on his bed and wait for his parents to wake up as he stares at the occasional spiderweb he's too lazy to clean from his ceiling.
Fuck this.
His stomach... It gets real good.
All right,
his stomach pains grow.
Yeah,
his stomach pains grow worse, even though he was lying completely still, feeling a dull, sharp pain in his stomach. The boy gropes his tummy with his hands. He becomes nauseous, and the pain gets increasingly worse every second.
You gotta, this is what junk food gets shit on, but if you got a goddamn colony of spiders growing inside you, a salad won't kill that. You gotta fucking put the entire Taco Bell menu in there. I'm sorry, there's no other way. They can't handle it. You can barely handle it.
Then, oddly enough, the pain suddenly stops. He feels a belch coming. The boy forces it up, hoping to release it. He is feeling better, but there's no noise, only the strange, unanticipated feeling of furry legs crawling up his throat. He gags, terrified and running for the bathroom as he feels something with prickly hairs crawling up his throat. He dry heaves over the toilet as the creature in his esophagus reaches his mouth. The boy feels many creatures bite his tongue and the back of his throat. Gagging, he spits it out, immediately disgusted and horrified. Several small hairy spiders land in the toilet. The boy died sometime later at the hospital from an unknown venom, most likely from a bite from an arthropod of some kind. An autopsy was performed on the boy and found several small spider egg sacs digesting in his stomach.
How the fuck?
DNA...
How the fuck did all that happen? You didn't already get bit by it.
Right. Well, the DNA of the eggs matched no known species of spider, though genetic tests showed it was some form of spider. The most widely accepted theory was that a spider crawled in his mouth while he was asleep and laid eggs inside him. The end. So, like, I wouldn't even have to die from spider venom. If spider eggs hatched in my stomach and they crawled up my fucking throat, like, I would just die. Like,
would it be, like, what if you had to shit them? Would that be worse or better?
Well, I mean, maybe a little better because I'd feel like, at least as they bite my fucking intestines and kill me, I got some revenge by, like, shitting on them.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like I've had enough, like, gnarly poops that I wouldn't be able to totally tell right away that it was, like, a spider problem.
Yeah.
You know, I would just feel like, oh, that's okay. I really need to review what I eat.
My diet.
Yeah. And then if I saw it was a spider, I would probably...
I know.
I would probably blame nachos.
That's the thing, though. If you shit it out and it was a spider, you would just assume that there was a spider in something you ate, and that'd be gross. I'd probably puke, even though it's after the fact at that point. But it is what it is. If a live spider crawled up my throat, let alone, like, multiple of them, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I did have a horror moment when I was a kid when I went to the bathroom and I did my business. And then I, like, looked in the bowl and there was, like, a bunch of earwigs in there.
Ugh.
And I was like, did that come out of me or were they always there? And what am I more okay with?
And I like that.
Because that means those little bastards were just hanging around my shit.
Yeah.
While I did my business.
You know, though, Little Ben, it didn't have to be an and/or situation. It could have been both. Like, they were already there, but because you and your family have been shitting them out for some time.
Comforting.
Yeah. Earwigs are gross. When we first moved into this house the first summer, we had a huge problem with them. I mean, there was just, like, dozens of them coming into the house.
Just a fucking useless being.
And you know what's bullshit? Anything I would look up about them, like how to get rid of them and like what draws, attracts them on, like basically how to exterminate them from the surface of the earth, not just my house. Everything I read was like, oh, they're no big deal. They're solitary creatures. They don't hang out in groups. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit because I have groups of them.
And they have weapons on their ass. It's like, we're not. There are property laws, and these things have to obey them too. We live in a fucking society, and that society crumbles the moment we start trying to fucking sing Kumbaya with all this weird gross shit that wants to, like, fuck with you when you're asleep.
Yes. Knock on wood, last year they weren't. I think I found like one in the house at one point, so no big deal. I mean, I prefer zero.
He was just a very big one, so we just charge him rent.
I'm a little worried about this season. It's been so warm of a winter here. Like, we already have, like, ants showing up in our house, and it's not even April yet.
I get ants every year. I just have to replace those fucking, like, bait traps.
Yeah, but we usually don't get them in March.
Yeah, it's been a weird fucking season. Relatively not too much snow where I'm at. When it has snowed, it's dumped, but like it warms up really quick, and in some ways I'm grateful for that. In other ways, it's like that means fire season is starting in March. It's like, that's fucking shit.
Ohio's had 19 tornadoes already, and that's like more than we usually have in a season.
Yeah.
And again, fortunately for me, they've all been like way up north, which is also odd. They're usually down southern Ohio, but anyway, weather's stupid. Yeah. That's not what that story is about. That story is about throat spiders.
Yeah. Which, also a side effect of global warming.
Yeah. I almost didn't read it because I know I didn't actually like specifically pick like, a spider story to fuck with Ben, because I know you don't.
No, I fucking hated everything about that. Good story, though.
I knew you would, but I was like, but it fit and this next one's not as spider-y. It's spider adjacent. But, so I'll just jump into it. Next one's called The Crawly Man. And I picked that because that's a fantastic title. Because it's not Crawly like the demon, it's Crawly, like creepy crawlies.
Yeah.
It's the Crawly Man. This one's by SpoopySparkles, which is also a fantastic name. Do you like bugs?
No.
I don't hate the creatures. They just make me feel uncomfortable.
No, and then you close the window.
But, yeah. Yeah, I'm just... It's a door-to-door salesman. You answer... I hate answering the door anyway, but you open the door and it's just some guy in like a ill-fitting suit. Like, do you like bugs?
Well, I know, you're weird. Leave me.
I don't hate the creatures. They just make me feel uncomfortable, which sounds at least hate adjacent.
I just wish they didn't live here. You know?
That's basically,
Yeah.
Because it goes on to say, as long as they aren't in my hair, on my face, in my room, or near me at all.
As long as they're not trying to turn me into a bug, I'm cool with them. It's that fucking phobia rhetoric shit.
Yep. Yeah, they can. I just don't want to see it in
public. No, some of my best friends are bugs, but...
Yeah, but they don't mind as long as they're not in their face, on their hair, whatever. I get that around me, but I don't mind if they exist. So basically,
dating my daughter.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly what you just said. By the way, I meant to start with this when we were on our off-topic shit. So I decided to spice up the podcast by actually having a drink. I haven't been having drinks much lately, which is probably the better way to live. Mm-hmm. But I had some Jack Daniels, and Jack Daniels and lemonade is really good. But I was at the store and I saw a Warhead's sour lemon pop soda. And I was like, that sounds kind of lemonade-ish. Let's see how that goes with Jack Daniels. I was saving it. I hadn't tried it until just like 3 seconds ago. That's why I interrupt this wonderful broadcast to talk about it.
All right. This is a new installment, a new feature of the Non-Essential Podcast. Steve's Big Dumb Cocktail Reviews.
Yeah, concoctions. So the second I poured it, this stuff comes out, this Warhead lemon pop piss color. I mean, it's not. There's no way to describe it other than piss color. It's like unhealthy piss color too. Like it's not even healthy piss. And of course, like any good booze taster, I gave the concoction a whiff, and it smells like piss. So it looks and smells like piss. Having just taken a sip of it, I can confirm that it also tastes like piss, or at least what I assume piss tastes like. So this episode is not brought to you by Jack Daniels and Warhead Sour Lemon Soda. Don't drink it. Bad idea. I will continue to drink it because it's in front of me.
Well, yeah, we got a job to finish, soldier.
Anyway, some bugs are easy to handle, like little flies or mosquitoes, tiny little things that are annoying but can be dealt with easily. But then there are the bigger creepy crawlies, such as spiders, roaches, hornets, or bees. These are the kind of things that you're often afraid of, the things that make your skin prickle, the creatures that you can imagine crawling on your face while you sleep. I don't know what is with people. I try not to think about bugs crawling on me while I sleep. I'm sure they do.
I always get recommended these videos, like an army soldier or a marine tells you how they sleep in like tough circumstances. None of them mention fucking. Imagine you're being bombarded with fucking horrible shit.
Right. Face. I'm about to tell you a story about that happened not so long ago that involved a certain creepy crawly thing that was much worse than any normal bug. I was 12 years old when this happened, and I wasn't weird or strange in any unnatural way. A perfectly normal kid. I never really liked bugs, but chose to ignore the ones that weren't major problems, and that worked out fine.
Bullshit.
Well, one day I was wandering around the house in search of something to do, when in a kitchen corner right below the door I spotted a black spider. It wasn't one of those long-legged spiders, but a small, creepy black spider with pointy legs and eyes, and I couldn't see because how small and beady they were. I shuddered, which you should if you see a small creepy spider. The spider just sat on a bit of web, silent and unmoving, like spiders are, but I got a chill. I felt like it was watching me. I called for my mom and asked if she would take the spider outside, and she said she would. She's got a glass and a piece of paper, scooping the spider up in the glass and making sure it didn't crawl out of the paper.
But then the spider put her in the glass.
Dun, dun, dun. Standing up with the trapped spider, my mom left to shake the creature outside. Suddenly, the chill went away, and I felt safe. Why was I so shaken up about a spider? Because it's a spider.
Yeah, they suck. They're like... They're the size of your fucking, like, thumbnail, and they can kill you.
Right.
At least some, most, not most, but
some.
More than there should be can kill you.
The next day, I was reading on the couch downstairs, waiting for my dad to get home from work so we could play a game, when I decided to get up for some water. I set my book on the couch and got up, heading for the kitchen, but suddenly I got the same chill. Somehow, my eyes moved to the same corner below the door, and I felt like I knew something was there. And I was right. I glanced down at that corner, not sure what I expected to see, and there, sitting silently, just like the last one, was another creepy black spider. I just stood there for a while, staring at the corner, staring at that black spider and shivering until my mom came into the kitchen. She asked what I was doing, and I was pulled out of my strange trance. I turned to her, my eyes lifting from the spider, and I told her there was another spider. My mom said it was just a coincidence, and she took the spider outside like she had done the previous day. I just nodded and glanced at the corner again. Damn it. Keep your thing rolling. I've got to run upstairs again.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
It's the intermission. Intermission. Go ahead and get you a drink. You gotta get a drink. You gotta take a link. Everybody taking an intermission. A-do-ba-da-do. And how about you? You gotta go to the bathroom and take a shit. It's intermission time. I'm fucking dumb. Oh, man.
Alright. Sorry, I had to run upstairs and shit out some spiders.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
I wrote an intermission song that I am keeping in.
Good. Alright. Well, if you're ready to pick back up, if I figure out... Took the spider as... Well, not an glass this corner. Okay. When I woke up, I saw a note from my mom saying she and my dad had gone somewhere important and would be back later.
But I'm never killing another spider for you again.
It's always really, I say always as if it's ever happened. It would be really suspicious if my parents, like I'm 12 years old, my parents leave and they just said, we're going somewhere really important. It's like, you're going to get a hotel room and fucking, aren't you? Like, I knew it.
Yeah. Daddy and Mommy have to take care of a spider.
Yeah. And we have to go somewhere not because of you, but because we're tired of that creepy-ass spider watching us go at it.
Watch cartoons and do not stop watching cartoons until one of us leaves the bedroom.
By the way, that spider's your biological father. Don't kill it.
That's fucking gross.
I didn't mind being alone, so I watched some videos and worked on homework until around 6 p.m. After a while, I decided to make some food, so I walked into the kitchen again. I remembered that creepy spider, and for some reason, I checked the corner once more. What I saw creeped me out, making me shiver and shake my head in disbelief. There, in that very same corner, looking like it hadn't moved at all, sat the black, shiny spider, silent and still, watching me.
Bopping and weaving. Warming up like a fucking boxer.
The funny thing is, it's like, oh, it's weird because the spider keeps being in the same spot. It's like, you almost tend to do that, though. Like... That's what, we have a friend that's an exterminator. He was telling us about, actually a pair of old ladies that had condos, like, adjoining each other, you know, whatever, because most condos are, like, duplexes.
Yeah.
And they were having mice problems, and they're like, oh, there's, like, dozens of mice in our house, and when he went to take care of it, there was, like, 1 mouse. It's just they would catch it, they sweet old ladies didn't want to kill the mouse, so they take it outside and let it go. It's like, it's that same fucking mouse coming back.
Yeah. Which is fortunate, because they can fucking breed like all get out.
Very quickly, yes. But I don't think
like it's going out of style.
From the sounds of it, those ladies weren't fertile anymore, so they were safe.
That's a fucking horrible
breed
image.
with each other. Yeah.
Fucking old ladies breed like nobody's business. What the hell?
What I didn't mention was that it wasn't just a field mouse; it was Mickey Mouse, but like the older, more problematic Mickey Mouse.
Hey, Granny! Huh? I fucked your granny! Huh? What are you gonna do about it?
See, a lot of people out there think Steamboat Willie got that name from like the vessel Steamboat, but Steamboat's like a really dirty sex move that he does to your grandmothers.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds
I'm
like
gonna give you a Steamboat Willie.
That sounds like, the type of porn I would have to like shut off and like contemplate.
Yeah.
It's like that.
You go to a confessional, you're not even Catholic or whatever.
Certainly physically impressive, but I don't know if anyone got any pleasure out of it.
So there in the very same corner, looking like I hadn't moved, is a shiny spider watching me, or at least I thought it was watching me. I couldn't believe that spider was there again, after I was sure my mom had taken it outside. But again, kid, it got inside somehow the first time, so anyway. Backing away, I shook my head, eyes never leaving the ugly black creature. Suddenly it moved. I froze. That is the worst feeling. Like, when you see a spider and it's just chilling there in the corner, but it's not moving, you're like, okay, you be cool, I'll be cool. Let's make a pact here. As soon as those fuckers start moving in your presence, it's like, nope, it's not afraid of me. There's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's stepping to me.
Right, we're turning this into full-scale war. Okay, here we go.
It's like if you're at a bar and a guy's been like mean mugging you the entire time, and he starts walking towards you. Like, are you gonna just assume like, oh, let it live and let live?
Right. Yeah, like the whole time that they're looking at you at the bar, I just figure I'm gorgeous. And then when they start coming towards you, you're like, well, fuck, here we go. And then when they walk past you to talk to the attractive lady that's sitting on the other side of the bar, you go, oh, that makes more sense. I'm overthinking this whole social situation. I need more booze.
But no, I grab him and I'd say, hey, what the fuck? We're about to fight.
Just trip him as he walks by.
Yeah.
I'm not above fighting dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I wouldn't let him get past me to the woman he meant to talk to before I'm like throwing a fucking mug in his face. Like I'm under attack.
Self-defense.
Call the cops. You all saw it. He came at me. He charged me.
Well, as long as you scream the phrase self-defense as you're smashing the mug over his face.
I had to bash him with a mug 7 times. I was under duress.
But that's the advantage of being somebody that's not physically imposing like myself, is that it's probably a better chance of talking to the jury.
Officer, I was fearful. I'm a very fearful person.
And honestly, if you did that, if like somebody was just walking past you and you just like knocked him out cold with a mug while he's screaming self-defense, people in bars aren't paying very close attention. Like, you could probably convince enough drunks that like, he came at me, he was reaching for a gun. They'd be like, yeah. To
be fair, I'm such an asshole that like if it was just a normal fight, I would like probably want to, get away from it and stuff, because you're depending on the parties involved, you're not breaking it up. But to be fair, if I saw somebody like beating the shit out of somebody with a beer mug, screaming help me while he's beating that person up, I would be dying laughing. Like, somebody's so afraid of a fight, they're like an assault that they're committing because they thought they were going to be attacked.
I'm picturing if done a little bit more wittily, so you think you should, I should think whatever. I forget the name of the show already.
I thought Tim Robbins might want to leave.
Yeah. Is it about time to go?
Whose time is it to leave anyway?
That's what we should have done. Brought the show back as an ad-lib version of I Think You Should Leave. And call it that.
Yeah, it's like all the prompts are just sketches from that, and we just make them less funny with like bad improv.
Yep. Anyway, so creature moved. I froze. It stopped. It moved again.
Hammer time.
Yeah, this is my daughter telling a story, my 4-year-old daughter. It inched off that piece of web, dropping to the kitchen floor. My eyes widened, but didn't move. I just couldn't move, just shaking and shivering and staying rooted to the spot. The black spider crawled towards me, stopping about halfway. Then the spider began to rise. Sitting on only its 2 back legs, its other legs stretched upwards, and before my eyes, it grew.
Fuck.
Spider grew.
Yeah, this is why you gotta take action.
Right.
Crush that sumbitch before this happens.
That's the thing. I hate crushing any bugs, just not because I'm like, oh, I don't want to kill bugs, because it's gross. It makes me like, when you hear a bug pop, it's sickening. Like, it's not enjoyable. But sometimes it's worth doing.
But sometimes, yeah, you're under attack. Help! I had to blow up the spider.
I fucked up a few bugs in my lifetime. Besides, that's about the only fight that I'm ever going to win, is me against a bug that's literally 1,000th of my size. And even then, it's not a guaranteed win on my part. Anyway, the spider grew in size larger and larger, but it wasn't a spider anymore. Once it had finally stopped growing, the creature that stood before me was a man. But not just a man. I told you, it's the kid's father. I forgot about this line. So it stood before me was a man, but not just a man, a strange man. Well, no fucking shit. He just grew from a spider. He was tall, very, very tall, and pale as paper. His long arms hung from his sides, his long legs keeping him firmly in place. He had 2 long, black, creepy spider-like legs coming from his back, behind his head, and another 2 behind his human legs. The worst, most terrifying part was his face. No, I think the terrifying part was that he was a spider that grew into a man-shaped thing.
All of it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Although, honestly, between the 2, I think I would be less grossed out and creeped out by a man-sized thing that looks kind of like a person than I would a spider. Like, lose those additional spidery legs so he doesn't have spider features anymore. In fact, I know you're supernatural, probably a demon, you're probably here to kill me, but at least you're not a spider anymore.
Well, there was that spider dude in Spirited Away. And there's a stage version of that show, or of that movie, that, like, the spider guy, like, all of his limbs are controlled by, like, actual people. So it's like this weird fucked up spider puppet dude.
Yeah.
And that's pretty goddamn terrifying. But, yeah, I mean, the hope is you can maybe reason with it.
Exactly. At least now I can communicate, in theory.
Yeah.
His eyes were the blackest eyes I had ever seen, darker than the night sky, and instead of 2, there were 8.
Night sky's pretty bright, depending on where you live.
Yeah, I mean, we get pretty dark skies and they're still pretty bright.
Yeah.
The man's grin was wide and unnatural, stretching wider than any grin could go, and he grinned like he knew. He knew I was scared. Again, no shit. He's a Spider-Man that just grew from a small spider in front of your eyes.
No, I love this shit. I love when this happens in my kitchen, you fuck.
Do you want to play Sega?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow, new best friend.
My buddy. I screamed, finally able to move, grabbing the nearest object, a chair.
That's his
I know, that's just... I've thought about that before. I'm not much of a screamer. Like anybody, there's like the gap, like the jump scare where you would be like, ah!
Yeah.
But like once something materialized and like stopped,
yeah, like
I can't picture myself screaming in that situation. At that point, I might yell at the thing.
Yeah, I don't have the vocal power to even sing songs I enjoy all the way. Cause like my vocal cords hit like a certain length, and then it's just like, fuck it, what's the use? You know, it's like, just scream for help. Fuck. You know.
I'm picturing the, I don't know, Mitch Hedberg had a joke about, like, like most of his jokes, it was inane in its brilliance altogether, but it's like, if fish could scream, the ocean would be loud as fuck. He's like, you just stick your head underwater and all you'd hear is, fuck. And that's what I'm picturing when you describe your scream. Just, fuck.
When I'm in a fucking jigsaw trap.
Yeah. I lost my spot, darker than the night sky, and instead of 2, there were 8. He knew I was scared. I screamed, finally able to move, grabbing the nearest object, a chair. I swung it, ready to fight the spider-like being. Good for you, kid. Fight or flight. You picked fight.
Probably a bad call, but, you know.
Sure, but so would flight. I mean...
Yeah, you're not outrunning it.
I think I tend to... I don't want to be like one of those, like, yeah, I would fight anything. I'm not afraid of anything. But I think my tendency is to, like, kind of charge into the problem, too. Not because I'm brave or that I'm confident in my abilities, but because I know I'm fucked either way. So, like, I might as well, like, at least try something.
Yeah, like, you know... Yeah, at the very least, you can make sure that tombstone doesn't say "ran like a bitch."
Bitch, right?
Yeah,
yeah. It's definitely not from like a manly, like, confidence, bravado.
It's more like, please don't make fun of me when I'm gone.
You know what I think it really is, now that I think about it, is I'm fat and I can't run, and it's like, just don't make me run. Like, I might die quicker, but at least I
might be able to butterbean this asshole. This fucking big spider. Maybe I'll get a lucky shot and have way more power than I thought I did. But I'm definitely not outrunning.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this. The amount of times that I've seen dogs that are, like, unleashed, and you're like, man, if that thing attacks me, like, I'm bigger than it. It's like, right, but it's 100% muscle and teeth. Like, there's no way I'm winning that fucking fight.
And it's also like, if a dog's going to attack you like that, the dog's been thinking of that moment and nothing but that moment pretty much since it was born.
Yeah.
Like,
and not just in general as a violence, it's just me personally. They're like, I'm going to fuck Steve up.
Yeah.
As soon as I see him.
I've dreamt of a, you know, old kind of pudgy dude. And it's you, pal.
Thank you for saying kind of pudgy. Like that. I mean, there's no qualifier.
I haven't seen a photo of you in a while.
Yeah.
If you want me to update my description, I can.
Anyway, so he swung a chair, ready to fight the spider-like being. Suddenly it went on all fours, leaping at me with its mouth open, showing its fangs. I ran as fast as possible. Oh, that was wrong. He's a feign the fight and then flight guy. Smashing a window and leaping out. Probably the better choice.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Although he probably could have also just used the door.
Like, yeah, it was unlocked.
There's just something more...
It's the Resident Evil 4 approach, though. It's like, oh my god, there are 2 people here. I have to jump out of the upper story window.
Well, and I gotta imagine, too, like, maybe the goal is, like, the spider sees this kid that's 12 just jump through a fucking window and not, like, slow down, and it's like, whoa, this kid's a badass. Maybe I should leave him alone. I ran all the way to my friend's house, not daring to look back. My friend asked what was wrong, and I just shook my head violently.
Big spider. Big spider.
What do you mean shook your head violently? Because you're not saying yes or no at this point. What's wrong? No!
Yes. Well, yeah, you're like kind of like, I don't want to think about it. I don't like it. Yeah. I don't like when I think about it.
Shook my head violently, searching for the man. Well, it's easier to look if you're not violently shaking your head. As soon as I start to do that, like, I can't see shit. Anyway. I didn't see him, so I burst into tears, hugging my friend. I could tell her what was wrong, I couldn't tell her what was wrong, so we watched movies to calm down. Also, congratulations, she just got friend-zoned, because...
It doesn't say the gender of this person, did it?
Oh, that's true. This could be
I mean, you could still be a girl and get friend-zoned, but...
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the implication.
we were just finishing a movie, the popcorn almost gone, and my friend pointed to a corner and said, "Hey, look, that's a creepy spider."
God
I looked.
damn it.
There in the corner was a shiny small black spider. Yeah, but now it's your friend's problem. You say, "Well, I'm going home."
It sure is. See you later.
So those are my two stories. I guess they were both pretty spider-centric. There was a third one I read. I forgot which two I copied down. So yeah, I figured we'd come back with 16 legs instead of just 8.
Yeah. Well, thank God for that.
Also, quick update, that lemon bourbon whiskey concoction gets better the more drunk you get.
Okay. As long as that formula stays in place. You know, the scientists would have really been befuddled if it's like he's enjoying it less as he drinks it. This is weird.
I've had those drinks though.
It happens, but it shouldn't.
I was just reminded of this. We were having a conversation at work about like chili flavored, not like chili, like pepper, just hot pepper flavored like drinks.
Yeah.
And I remember years ago, we were going over to my parents' house just to visit, and they had just had people over, a day or two before, and one of the guys brought a bunch of just different, various, random beers and left them because he didn't want to take them home, and one of them was a chili pepper, a hot beer, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. It was the worst fucking thing I think I've ever drank, and
Yeah.
in high school, we used to play, not play a game, but it was our goal to drive around and find the worst tasting. Like, we didn't drink alcohol, and I wasn't a cool high school kid. But we'd go just look for, just the worst, off-the-shelf drinks, and this one topped all of them. It was like drinking salsa. That's what it tasted like.
Yeah, I mean, growing up when drinking was the thing to do, we often just tried shit just to, see what it tastes like. And most of the time that ended really poorly.
Yeah, every now and then you find something like, wow, this is like a new addition to my, whatever. But
there was some, we got some variety bag of beers, and, they always did, 3 different flavors that were kind of standard. I don't remember what brand it was. I'm sure it's a popular one that if I saw it, I could tell you the name and you would recognize it. But they always did, the 4th one as kind of like a seasonal interchangeable thing in these packs. And one of them was a fucking winter brew. And it was the most fucking shitty coffee pot brew that I've ever drank. And it was one of those beers where it's it didn't matter how deep into the night you were. It's if you were hey, somebody give me a beer, and they handed you that, you'd be like, you fucking asshole. But you'd still drink it, but you.
Yeah.
But it was this is fucking shit. This is still shit. I'm fucking 5 beers in, and this is still shit.
It's a very common, seasonal beers that I'm always suspicious of are the fall ones and the winter ones, because it's too broad of a term, and there seems to be 2 types of each. The fall ones, there's some really fucking good, Oktoberfest beers.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of them that are just
they'll just tell you yeah, we fucking put a pumpkin in it, and
yeah, but not even balanced anything. It's just yeah, here's pumpkin spice, and it's great, thanks. And there's even good pumpkin beers, but I'm not a big fan of that flavor anyway, so there's fewer and far between. And then the winter ones, same deal. Some of the winter ones are okay. A lot of the times it's this winter beer, and it's just clove flavored. Literally, that's all it is. It's
the problem with winter beer is they try to make their own beer as filling as a Guinness, and it tastes substantially worse, and it's still hitting your stomach like a fucking anvil. That's been my experience with winter seasonal shit.
Yeah.
But I don't drink that much beer these days. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like it my most old man shit that's developed in my 30s is like the stuff I drink seems to have a more noticeable impact on my digestive system, and beer is like the worst culprit for that.
I was just talking about that today with a coworker because she was talking about she had a friend coming over that likes to drink, and she'll like just pound like 6 beers in like 2 hours, which I guess for some people that's not pounding them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I used to be there too. I'm like, 1 beer makes me bloated as fuck. Like 6 beers, like I just would be physically uncomfortable.
Yeah. I had like it was a couple weeks ago, I was hanging out with some friends, and I had one of those like fucking mini midlife crises when I was hanging out with them, and I was like, oh, I used to be able to slam beer, I'm going to do it again. And it was like IPAs, which is already like really hard to do.
Yeah.
But I used to be able to do it, and like I couldn't get through one in one try. Like, and of course, like you want to be like, no, let me go again. But the more you're doing that, the more you're filling up with beer, the harder it gets. Right. And yeah, you feel like bloated fucking ass. It's I don't know. Like my beer drinking at this point is like I like a summer beer with like at like a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, except for if I'm at a Mexican restaurant, I went margarita.
I like margaritas too, but I rarely order them.
They fuck you up at Mexican. At least the ones around here, they make them strong.
We have a Mexican restaurant down the road from my house, and like when I go out there to eat with my mom or something, she'll get them, and they are pretty fucking liberal about how much booze they give you.
And on top of that, for most people, and I know this varies, but tequila is just one of those booze that just in and of itself kind of just hits harder. I don't know what it is about it, but
yeah, it's I'm convinced it's not the alcohol percentage with tequila. I think there's some wizardry in that shit that
cocaine.
Yeah, probably. But like there's something about like if you flip that switch and tequila's involved, like the night is going to probably loosen up a lot. And that's sometimes for better and sometimes for worse.
The older I get, it's more often for worse. It's almost never for better.
Yeah. It can lead to you getting kicked out of the Mexican restaurant because your fucking March Madness bracket's busted.
I didn't do one this year. I should have.
Yeah. You probably shouldn't have, because the way it's going. Watch me lose everything. Brought to you by DraftKings.
I did notice, like, just the first day, like, the play-in games. I think most brackets don't include the play-in games anyway, but...
No.
But that Tuesday, so they did the 2 play-in games Tuesday and then 2 on Wednesday. And the 2 Tuesday, like, Wednesday morning when I was driving to work and they were talking about it on the radio, they're like, oh, this team beat this team and this team beat... And I'm like, I guarantee I would have picked the 2 teams that lost.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, I'm like you. I don't watch a lot of college basketball. I don't particularly like basketball, which isn't like you. You do like it, but
I do, but I admit the game has gotten less and less interesting to me.
But I used to follow March Madness at least pretty closely and do brackets and stuff all the time. So my problem is now when I'm picking a bracket, I pick based on like the teams that were good back then, and that was like mid 2000s. I'm like, oh, this team always makes a deep run, and then it's like they get bumped out right away, and you find out it's like, oh, this is the first time they've even been back to the tournament in 15 years. You're like, oh, well, okay. I thought they were good.
Well, my bookie didn't tell me that. Anyway, yeah, that's the show this week. Thank you to the writers of these stories. Thank you to Spiders for inspiring them to creep me out and make me feel like I need to take a shower now.
Yeah, so I anticipate next week you'll find this story, but I was trying to think like my biggest phobia. I think my biggest phobia is just having to work past 5.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like
the guy that gets trapped in his cubicle.
Yeah, here's a story about a man who had to stay late. Yeah, but like I said, we're on a bi-weekly schedule, so yeah, we'll see you. We'll just see you next time. Fuck it. Who knows when we do this anymore? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think instead of being scheduled, which is the number one rule of anything that you read about making a podcast, we'll just randomly record like once every 8-9 weeks.
That'll be our thing. You'll never know when you'll get the next one. So see you at the next one.